Hello, welcome to Appreciating Drama, and today we are going to see a new trend in the world of drama, and it is called realism. Realism in drama. Realism in Malayalam we would like to translate as യഥാതഥ്യ പ്രസ്ഥാനം, അതായത് കലയിലെയും സാഹിത്യത്തിലെയും തന്മയത്വം, പച്ചയായ ജീവിതത്തെ അതേപടി കലയിലും സാഹിത്യത്തിലും വരച്ചു കാട്ടുന്നതിന്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ജീവിതത്തിൽ നടക്കുന്ന അതേ കാര്യങ്ങൾ അതേപടി സ്റ്റേജിൽ അവതരിപ്പിക്കുന്ന അതിനാണ് റിയലിസം എന്ന് നമ്മൾ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. What is realism? We are trying to define the term. It refers generally to any artistic or literary portrayal of life in a faithful, accurate manner, unclouded by false ideals, literary conventions, or misplaced aesthetic glorification and beautification of the world. So, if you go through the history of drama, you find that this realism is a kind of reaction against the idealism of romantic era, because during the time of romantic period they are trying to portray life as kind of perfect or not really what is found in the world. Actually, romanticism is actually a kind of escapism from the painful realities of life. So here we are trying to bring back that reality that is lacking in romantic period or romantic drama. So they want to be as faithful or as accurate in the portrayal of life on stage. It is a theory or tendency in writing to depict events in human life in a matter of fact, straightforward manner. It is an attempt to reflect life as it actually is. So that's what the theatre in this period is trying to do, trying to reflect, like holding a mirror to actual life. So just like we say, art is an imitation of life. So that's what they are trying to do here in realistic dramas. This movement began in mid-late 1800s, that is after 1850, that is actually the second part of 19th century, as an experiment to make drama more appetizing to society. Here appetizing means more appealing and attractive. Political events and social reforms led to different thoughts. So there were so many political and social movements and all that. So a lot of new ideas are coming into the society at that time, and sudden rejection of romantic idealism. So romantic period was more of the imagination. It had nothing to do with real life. So it is a kind of reaction against that. Revolutions and wars in Europe portrayed the need for social, economic and political reform. So after French Revolution, Industrial Revolution and all that, people were trying to get more freedom, for more rights. So there is a kind of transition period. Technological advances were also there. Then pragmatism, people started believing in what is practical, not theoretical. And common man demanded recognition, working or middle class demanded more rights. So that was the social setup at that time. Now we will see some great men who were instrumental in bringing about this part of drama called realism. Among them, the first one is, of course, Auguste Comte. is a French philosopher, and he developed positivism theory and encouraged one to inspect nature through precise observation. So, these are the beginnings of science. The people started looking at nature and observing things and studying. And the next great person who contributed greatly to realism was Charles Darwin. Of course, he doesn't need an introduction. His book Origin of Species made many people believe that science could provide the answers in life. So people started putting their faith in science. They thought their problems could be solved by science. And next great person is again a person who doesn't need much introduction. His name is Karl Marx. He argued against urbanization and in favor of equal distribution of wealth, founder of communism. So these are three great people who contributed to realism. Beginnings of realism. The beliefs of Comte, Darwin and Marx led to an overall change in social and independent thoughts. So the thoughts and ideas of these great men really had a far-reaching effect on the society. Society began to question religious, political and economic beliefs. So till then, the people were kept under a lot of control and they did not have freedom and all that. So religion, politics played a lot of unquestionable role in the life of people. So they started questioning them, questioning these unquestionable authorities represented by religion or other political ideas. Science and deep observations were paramount in European societies. So it was the beginning of science in Europe. So people started believing in nature and they started studying from nature, the law of nature and all that. So experiment of course depends on observations. Scientific methodology can apply to human problem solving. So they started believing that science or scientific methods can solve many of the problems faced by human beings. Now we are going to see some great writers of this time. Among them, the first one is Alexandre Dumas. He tried to portray contemporary life and social problems through his writings. Some of his novels are Camille, The Count of Monte Cristo, The Three Musketeers. These are novels. We will see his dramas later. Another great writer is again a French person. His name is Émile Augier. He again tried to reflect the contemporary conditions or social situations at that time. Then we have Anton Chekhov, a Russian playwright. He is known for psychological reality, social complications, illusion of the lack of a plot. So all these were his characteristics. His works are The Lady with the Dog, it's a short story, and Three Sisters, a play. So these are the three great writers of that time. What makes something a realistic work? So how can we call a drama realistic? In realistic works such as A Doll's House, written by Henrik Ibsen, we find readers tend to view important techniques that make plays and novels realistic. So when you watch a drama like Doll's House, we are able to see some characteristics or some techniques used by these dramas. We will go into details about those. Characters are believable and engaging. So unlike romantic dramas, the characters are real. we can believe, yes, these things can happen, and they are also charming. Charming means, attractive. The characters live, relatable or not, lives within the story. So they are not actually acting; they are living on stage. So that is the difference between realistic drama and non-realistic. An accurate reflection of the human condition and contemporary life with no stereotyping. So the drama is trying to reflect life as it is without any cover, and the characters themselves are very real. The common man, we can easily relate to such people. Then reflection is also made by culture and social class. That means, culture is again a part of society. Culture varies from place to place, and social class, we have different classes like the workers, the landlords, then the ruling class. So these are different types of social classes. So the drama of that time tried to reflect those different classes, social classes, and also culture. Details of individuals' problems and challenges. So problems and challenges faced by every human being or ordinary people. The movement began in mid-late 19th century in Europe. Actually, realism started in Europe, especially Norway, from where our Henrik Ibsen is from. So, playwright Henrik Ibsen is credited for introducing realism in drama. So, it is Ibsen who founded or founder of realism. You can call him the father of realism. Ibsen, known as the father of realism, aimed at bringing a greater fidelity of real life to the stage. So, throughout his plays, you find this quality of reflecting life, true to life, that's meaning a fidelity of real life. And it attacked society's values and dealt with unconventional subjects. So he was trying to attack the so-called values of the society at that time, and also he dealt with some very radical subjects, not usually conventional or traditional. Unconventional in Malayalam it is called Paramparagatham Allatha topics or subjects. That means up to now they did not deal with such topics so far, topics related to or subjects related to every man's life. Some of the other plays of Ibsen are Ghosts, Pillars of Society, Hedda Gabler, and of course Adolfs, as we have already seen. Then other playwrights of that time, you have some Russians here. Alexei Pisemsky, Leo Tolstoy, I think you have heard of his name. His play The Power of Darkness in 1886. Then you have got Konstantin Stanislavski, Vladimir Nemirovich Danchenko. They are all, of course, Russian playwrights. And we have got another great man coming out. His name is George Bernard Shaw. We will see more about him. He wrote more than 60 plays. His major works include Man and Superman in 1902, then Pygmalion, another very interesting story or play, 1912. That is also made into a movie. If you are interested, you can watch that. It will be available on the net, I think. Then Saint John 1923 and Arms and the Man in 1894. So these are some of the major works of Bernard Shaw. Then we come to another great man, Alexandre Dumas, his works. The Hunter and the Lover, 1825. The Wedding and the Funeral, 1826. Atala, 1848. The Lady of the Camellias, 1852. Diane de Lis, 1853. And Natural Son, 1858. These are the plays of Alexander Dumas. And coming to the stage, you find a diagram of that stage there. So there was something called proscenium. There is a kind of arch in front of the curtain. I think it started developing at that time, proscenium. You can have a look at the stage, which looks very real. So they are trying to represent life as it is. So even the sets look very real. It's not just a kind of artificial one. If it is a living room, it will exactly look like a living room, nothing else. Then realistic drama in today's society. Now, do we find realism today in our movies? I think so. Today when we go and watch a movie, unless it is for entertainment, we are always looking at realistic stories. Entertainment, of course, we can see fiction or comedy and all that, but otherwise I think people prefer a realistic story. Yes, it could happen. Unlike Bahubali and all that, of course, there is not much of realism there. But I think recently there was a movie called Vellam. It's about alcoholic. So that is actually realism. What happened in a man's life, an alcoholic addict, and how he changes his life. So nowadays also we find realism very much relevant, and it is there prevalent in our media today. So it is everywhere. It is in real life. Definitely, it is realism is real life, trying to depict what is happening in the society. Realism became more popular since A Doll's House and was the main style of most of media, books, film and TV. So it has affected almost all the visual media, I believe. Even today, its impact is seen everywhere. People preferred realistic stories because of the relatable aspects of the lives of the characters. So after watching a movie, how do we evaluate? We ask the question, can it really happen? Right? I think there should be some logic in every movie that is made. That logic has to be applied to real life, definitely. Otherwise, we will question ourselves, or we can even blame the director or the producer for that. So people preferred realistic stories because of the relatable aspects of the lives of the characters. So we can relate to the character, maybe the hero or the heroine. This way we are able to feel like, being sensitive. We feel as if we are suffering the pain of the character or protagonist. That means it is realistic. If it doesn't affect you, then it is not realistic. I think with that we have come to the end of realism. So till we come with another type of drama, it is goodbye. Thank you.